So today I'm working on this thing, which is a general radio. It's a decade inductor. 1 Henry steps, 100 millihenry, 10 millihenry and 1 millihenry. Alright, so you can go up to quite a large value on this thing. I picked this up a little while ago and it needs a bit of work because it's just not working very well. And so I want to pull it apart, see what's inside it and try and see if I can fix the issues with it. This one has most of the issue. This got a little bit of an issue. I think these two are working okay, but they probably require some maintenance because this is a fairly old unit. And as you can see, it's fairly large. It's a bit of a beast. So we'll get stuck into it and see what we can figure out. So the issue this thing had is that if I did 1 millihenry on here, I might get 2. If I do 2, I might get 3. I think if 3 might have worked, 4 maybe give 3. Oh, something like that. I know it was a mess. Let me hook up a meter and we'll look at it and see what we're actually getting right now. Then we'll pull it apart. So I've got my DR LCR meter here. Let's look at the actual dials. So go to 1. See, something changed slightly, but it didn't actually go to 1. Go to 2. We get 3. Go to 3. We get 2. Go to 4. We get 4. Okay. But I think it also changed as I came back down again. So I'm on 6 now. 7. 8's looking a bit out. 9 and 10. Right, so the upper part of the scale looks okay, but I'm pretty sure when I came back down again before, it behaved differently. That's 5. 4's giving 5. But when we went that way, when we're going up, 4 was 4. But now 4 is 5 on the way back down. And so 3 is doing 2 still. 2 is doing 3 still. 1 still isn't working. And then we do the 10s. I think this one was basically okay. I think it just didn't feel very nice, if I remember rightly. So I want to quickly check that. I know this is not particularly exciting watching the numbers on the screen, but we need to do this process to make sure it's all okay. This one here's got the biggest issues, and it's doing some weird stuff. So let's get this thing apart and actually look in it. I haven't looked inside this yet. I did find a couple of these knobs are already a bit loose. These two I loosened this morning because this one was loose. These two are so tight I could barely turn them. I've already loosened those ones off because I felt that they were a bit tight. That one's still tight. Those two are so tight I barely move them. Right. Come on, turn. Let's do this in a way which isn't going to damage it. I don't want to chew the things out, the process of doing it. Don't want to damage them. Okay, that works. Not following the right talk sequence. If I say random comments in the video, it's because I'm also live streaming this at the same time as I'm doing this repair. So if you don't understand what I'm talking about, it's because I did a live stream. I'm talking to the live stream audience. And for live streamers, yes, I'm not talking to myself. Unlike normally when I'm recording videos, I'm talking to myself. Let's lift this out of here. I hope there's no spiders in here. Let's move this out of the way. Wow, this is going to be an interesting one. So, wow, sealed units. Not for long. So, you can actually get data sheets for this. Now, I did actually do some research on it a little bit to try and figure out what we got. But so you can actually buy these as standalone units, and basically what they do with this box is they get a whole bunch of these standalone units and just cascade them to make them a decade unit. So 940A, 940B, 940C, 940D. So I think there's probably an E. I'm not sure, but there may not be. I'm not sure, but if you just want a certain range, say if you want the 10 millihenries range, you could buy a 940B, and that will give you 0 to 100 millihenries and 10 millihenry steps, as per the front panel. So you can actually buy individual units if you want to. They are available. I've actually seen some on eBay, so they are around. This one here we need to pull apart. It's already loose. So's that. So's that. So's that. I think it may just be... Oh, you can't see it, I'll do it. Zoom out a little bit. So this is already a bit loose. Well, they weren't that tight to undo, so I don't know. That's interesting. Let's pull off both ends and we'll see what happens. What could possibly go wrong? So you find it's for the springs or something that goes everywhere. Yep, there we go. Ooh. Right. Okay, this could be a big challenge after all. I'm not quite sure how I'm going to get to switch contacts. So it's actually got wax on there. That's wax. Or some kind of epoxy or something. I don't know, it feels a bit like wax, but maybe it's just a really old epoxy which is degraded slightly. It's possible. These are very old. So it's obviously there to solidify everything so it doesn't move around and it keeps it all supported, which is brilliant. Now what I've just noticed is that this appears to actually come off. So I think we can lift this off and find out. Let me get in here with a screwdriver to keep it pop off from now over here. Ooh, looking promising. Oh, look at that. And was my guess correct? No! It's even more interesting. Look at that. So we've got a whole bunch of cams with fingers. And that is so easy to get to. And the question is, why is it wrong? Is one of the cams broken? So go right to 0. So 1 is not working correctly. 1 doesn't work at all. 2 gives 3. See, these aren't really moving, are they? So this one's shut all the time. And so is that one. Those two are shut. This one I think is supposed to be opening. It's not. I think it's this one. I think that's bent. So 0's all shut. 1 I think is supposed to be this one open. Alright. And 2 is supposed to be this one and something else open. That, look at that. That slop in that cam. That may be the part of the problem. See this? So, okay, I wonder if I can get this thing apart completely. Basically it's got a screw in the back, means I can probably just pull the whole shaft out. And even if I do screw up the sequence of the cams, it shouldn't be that hard to figure out which one should be going. So let's just video this so I've got a reference. There's 0, 1, give it a wobble, 2, give it a wobble, 3, wobble, see that? 4, 5, 6, 7, if I can count correctly anyway, 8, 9, and 10. Right, so those are all positions. So that's what's there right now. So as long as I pull it apart and put it back so it looks the same way, it should be right. I put the cover off this one and just checking this one for comparison, there's no wobble on that one whatsoever. So that one, although it feels a bit scrapey, maybe it's the knob on the front panel, a bit tight, I don't know, but I'll have to look at what I'll do to clean those up. But it isn't actually wobbling at all, but this one is. So if you look at these little levers on these cams, you can see these ones are basically dead straight lines to each other, right? Both of those, and they're nice. They sort of curve towards the centre a little bit slightly. See that? Whereas you look at these ones, they look at like they're all over the place. So I put them both at 1, so they're both in the same position. Well, I put them both at 0 rather. No, I put them both at 0, so both in the same position. You can see how they're all sitting, right? Those basically all look nice and straight, nice and square, everything lines up. Then you look at this one, everything looks a bit bent, like someone's been there messing with it maybe. Nothing looks quite right in there, does it? So I think there's a bit of a key there that's not good. Or maybe it's been abused a bit and had too much current going through there, and maybe it's heated them up and that's caused them to deform. That's also possible. But you can see they definitely don't look right compared to this one. That looks all perfect. Let's look at the next one over. Same, all looks exactly the same. Perfect. This one here. That also looks really good. So this one looks very, very wrong. So if you look at the mechanism here, it's got a lot of play in this direction, which is pretty awful. So what I think has happened, because it's collapsed and it's moved over sideways, someone's gone in there and bent it all trying to fix it. I'm not actually understanding that that should be here, not there. So if you go into the position where you've got a gully there, like that, that should be in the middle of that dip. It should be there and opened up. But because someone's gone there and bent it all, now it's not working properly. Because before, it's sitting up here, not there. So if you look at this one, for comparison, drops right in the middle of the gully. See that? See how nicely that's working? Okay. Well, this one definitely isn't doing that, is it? Because someone's been in there bending stuff. We've got to completely strip this thing down and rebuild it. So I've taken the knob off. There's 2 little screws here, and I think that's just holding on this dial face, and I believe underneath there's 2 bolts which attach it to the chassis. Now obviously before I actually remove it from the chassis, I'd have to electrically remove the wiring, because it's all soldered together. That's not a big deal. We'll just take the wiring off. It's only 2 wires. Now does that allow this to move? It does. And there's the 2 bolts that hold the thing in. Great, so we're on track. I'm going to have to take the thing apart, I think, in order to fix this. So I'm going to take these 2 wires off here, and I need to change my iron because I've had it set up for doing some fine work recently. So here it is. I managed to get it out. I had to fight with it a little bit to get the wires off. It wasn't easy to get them off. They're really stiff wires. So now we can actually see a bit better what we're doing. Now this has got a little clip around that shaft, which means I think I can actually just undo that clip. But then I've also then got the issue of the fingers being all in the way. Possibly undoing these screws here and taking this whole bottom assembly off, because that'll then pull it out of all the fingers. It's probably the best way of doing it. Oh, then I've got the wiring on here, which based on how hard it was to get these ones off, I don't want to touch that. I think that holds that assembly together. Now I've lost a screwdriver on the floor of doom. Yep. So then I can get this plate off. I'm not liking how I'm going to have to do this. I think I might have to take this part away as well, so I can move the fingers. I think this bottom plate's got to come off regardless, so let's do that. This was, I'm sure, designed for servicing, absolutely sure, because it isn't that hard to work on. It's just a little bit awkward. Once you understand how it's constructed, then it will get a lot easier. But you know, half of this is me figuring out how the thing goes together, so I know how to pull it apart without damaging it further, and you know, causing other issues. So that should lift off like that. There's the mechanism. And that is cracked. It's got a crack right through there and through there, and it's covered in oil like someone's tried to lubricate this before. Right, so that being all cracked is probably why it's not aligning. So I think I can probably just take this piece out here, dismantle the switch stack, hopefully, and pull that piece out from the bottom. That's what I'm hoping for. Gotcha. So it's got a locating post just here. Goes in there. And you can see there's a screw which comes through, which locked it together. So this is what we need to fix. But the fact this is all cracked through here, it's not a good sign. But at least the important part, which is the cam section, is still good. I'm wondering if I need to do a 3D print and make a new piece. Wouldn't be impossible. Let's take this piece out. I do actually have a plier for this somewhere. I've got to try and find it. So I managed to pull the clip off, but it snapped on me. So, oops. I do actually have some replacements. Hopefully I've got something which is about the right size that'll do the job. So let's pull it out. There's a washer on there. So there's all the detents in the switch. There is a little ball bearing. There's the piece which is cracked. And here is the spring for the ball bearing. So let's stick these on the magnet Mac. Hope it don't go missing then. Okay, so at least the detent mechanism's on this piece, not on this piece. Sometimes the ball bearing's mounted on that bit and the detent's on the frame. So I'm glad that's not the case. 3D printing this is doable. This top surface isn't too critical. So if I had to 3D print this, I would do it this way up and have all the support material under here, and then you can get these details more accurate, which is the important part, which is this channel here, which is used for the stop mechanism, and the hole which is used for the ball bearing. So the only critical thing here really is that hole depth, which I can measure, and obviously diameter to make sure it doesn't wallow around too much, because the looser that is, the more variation you're going to get in the indents here. So if it's wobbling, then the switch positions won't be precise enough. That hole there, not so bad. I'd probably do a metal threaded insert on that if I have something which will fit. Problem is, this is Imperial. I'd probably have to sink in a nut instead. I do have some Imperial nuts, so I'd probably have to make that big enough to accept a nut to be pushed into it and melted in. This mechanism here, it's got like a little standoff there with a locator. So that is actually stood off slightly, interestingly. Or is that just broken off the other frame? I think that is interesting. it is all stood off. This done it in a strange way. Almost like it's been glued. Almost looks like it's been glued and broken off the other side. Maybe it is glue. Maybe there is some glue they used to help stabilise it. It's got a bit on this side as well, so maybe it is glue. Alright, so looks like that post there and the depth of the hole sets the height for the standoff, which has to be square. So critical dimensions of that hole, that's rotated slot, the height of this, that standoff depth. Yeah, so 3D printing this is certainly possible. It will take a while to design it though. So because we've got that broken section, we can see how close that is in there. Actually slightly off in their own design. Actually look at that, it's almost touching the edge. Yeah. Oh no, maybe it's really close actually, it's really close. Close fitment. Unnecessarily so, it didn't really need to be there. It's only creating a clearance, so this has got the end stops on it, so it's the end stop position for each of these. So that's the other critical dimension we've got to get right, is that where those end stops are. So yeah, there's several critical dimensions on this where we've got to get them right. That location relative to the centre position, so that angle there, and these end stops. Yeah, this will take a little while to design. So I'm just in the process of gluing this crack. I mean, I could 3D print another piece, and I might end up doing that yet. But the first thing I'll do is just try and basically glue the thing together and see if that's good enough. It might be good enough. Don't know. May not be. But I think it's worth a shot to see if it will actually work. I was trying to get the glue to flow into the crack first. Then I'll try and close it a little bit. Apply a little bit of pressure to it and see if it helps it close up. Alright, let's squeeze it. Yeah, I think it moves slightly. So, hold this for 10 minutes. But then my tweezers should be rock hard and stuff. Let's put this back on here. If I knock it over and make a mess. So, I'm going to hold this for a little while. Come back. So, these two here aren't rocking at all. And this one here is rocking very slightly. It's got a little bit of movement in it. So I'm actually thinking that this one might be cracked as well. So it's funny that both the end ones were damaged. So that's the Henry's. But that one's working perfectly fine right now. So I'm actually inclined just to leave the thing alone because it's working okay. If it gets worse, then I will deal with it. But I think for now, I'm happy enough to say it's not perfect. But there's a risk of dismantling it in the first place, so I might just leave it alone. So all I'm going to do now is going to spray some Deoxit gold in here. I'm not sure if these are silver or gold contacts. They might be silver plate, or someone's been soldering them, I'm not quite sure. Who knows with things. Let's just spray a bit of this in here, just to try and clean these contacts up a bit. And then this stuff's really expensive, so I'm going to try and use it sparingly, but it does need to be on here. And then we'll run some paper through it and use that to try and clean the contacts up. I've still got to try and sort this one out. It's also the, was it that one? This one here, that one here. Just touching together. They shouldn't be touching. It should be open. So let's do these. Just close the contacts with this. I'll see how much dirt we get off it. I'll try moving it around as well, because where I move it will probably depend on the contact point. So, yeah, bit of dirt coming off there. Do that way as well. So yeah, this is what I'm going to do to clean these up. Probably don't need to see the whole video on this, do you? You get the idea. But yeah, they're coming off. So I'll clean them a bit. Now let's try and sort out this one, which is bent. Now it looks like this finger here, you can see what I'm doing. This one is bent inwards, bent outwards rather. So I think someone's been messing with this. Whereabouts has it got a bend? It looks like it's about here somewhere. So let's just push it here, and hopefully it's getting closer. Now let's just do it like this. I want to basically try and get it so it matches the same line as the one below it, which I think might be okay. It's getting closer. Don't overdo it. So I think that top part there is, let's get the white behind it, maybe we can see better. Top part's looking close. Maybe slightly higher, needs to be bent slightly up here. And then the bottom bit. This is of course assuming that the bottom contact is not mutilated, which it could be. Just fine tuning a little bit at a time. There's no rush. So I think the critical bit really is getting that this dot between here and that contact point should be the same. Alright? I think that's the most critical point. You look at this side, you can see this line up perfectly. This side is getting close. This end's probably less critical, but between this point and here is where it really matters. Am I being too fussy about it? Potentially. That's probably close enough. So let's glue this piece together, and we'll do the same thing we did before. Clamp it up, leave it to set for ages. Let's try and take this off here because the actual nozzle part is blocked, doesn't work. Get rid of that. And we'll use these tweezers to attach it again. I don't care about these tweezers, so cheap tweezers, they cost a couple of dollars. And I mangle these things, all sorts of stuff, so you know, I'm not really worried about these at all. At least this time we can actually get the whole surface covered, and I drip some on my desk, which is the whole point of me having a thing down, to protect my desk. That's a bit bad. Anyway. Now it's super glue on my desk. Who wants that? No, it's going to go disaster. That's going to smell bad next time I do hot air. Super glue and hot air do not mix. Do not ever do hot air on something which has been super glued. You will regret it. The fumes come off it. It's horrendous, and it's really bad. Your eyes really start stinging and stuff. It's something you want to avoid definitely. Make sure the whole surface is covered in this glue. Then I'll put the other piece up to it, then we'll clamp it up. Actually, I might go a little bit further and put something on the outside cracks down there, just to help fill in the gaps which might come out. Just in case there's any voids inside it, it will try and work its way in, hopefully, when I clamp it. Right, let's do this without hopefully dropping the bits together. Okay, it's looking alright. Looks like it's closed up. Let's clean this glue up before it gets it everywhere. So one of my big challenges is trying to decide what kind of lubricant to put onto these. Now this is a lithium grease. I don't really know if it's the best thing to be using for this. I actually don't know. It's like a mineral oil stuff in there, so I don't know if it's any good or not. I'm going to try. I mean, I've used it on some other stuff, but not much. What could possibly go wrong apart from destroying the gears eventually in these cams? But I want to put some kind of lubricant on there to stop the wear on those actual cams and stuff, and help them to slide more easily as well. I don't think they're sliding very easily right now, so that's something I'd like to sort out. So when I was first trying these out, this one felt graty and this one felt gummy, and all it is, the knobs were actually rubbing on the bottom. So this one's actually digging into the plate on the front, where it's got the brass insert inside there was actually protruding very slightly, and it's rubbing in the front panel. And this one here, you can see that scrape mark there, where it's actually been rubbing on these screws, which is why that one felt gummy, because that's plastic onto metal. This is metal to metal, which is why that one felt strapey. So now I know that I don't need to pull those ones apart to try and lubricate them or anything, because they're actually perfectly fine, which is a good thing. So I'm just going to lift him up off the front panel slightly. Let's check the alignment. Not bad. It's slightly off. Yep, that's good now. So I'm happy with that. It's that now feels nice. It feels as nice as this one, if not. It still feels a bit different. Obviously this one's had less use. It does feel like it's got more drag on it, but it's not feeling awful anymore. These two feel about the same now, so I'm happy with that. So let's assemble this thing. Now, I was a bit concerned about when I pulled this apart. I was scratching the top here with a knife, and this glue is kind of flaking off. It doesn't actually seem to have adhered too well to the plastic. That might be a problem. It might mean that this will just fall apart. We shall see. If it does, it does. I'm a bit worried about that part of it. Anyway, I'm going to put some of this on here just to lubricate it a bit. Lubricate on the shaft. So make sure it's covered. And then also in the hole here that the ball bearing is going to go into, just to hold things together. Just a little bit in there. Things that fall apart as soon as I touch it. Right. Ball bearing. Sit it on there. That sounds nice. Oh, that's really nice now. I think these really need grease inside them. So there's a ring there that needs to go on. I'm just hoping it doesn't fall apart as I'm trying to lever on this thing. So these are actually the wrong ones for this. These are actually for inner clips, not outer clips. I'm going to get some of the right ones, it would seem. Don't go pinging off. Don't go pinging off. Right. Just slide it down. That feels really nice. That's really good. I'm actually thinking the other ones might need the same thing now. Anyway, I'm just going to push this down to try and make sure it's inside that groove. Right. Let's reassemble this piece onto here. Then we put that plate back on afterwards. Come on, here you go. Right. Goes on there. Do the screw up. Come on. Now don't over tighten it. Just as we net. Otherwise you'll strip the plastic out. It feels so much better. Small tapered screw, that one. Now, this was kind of worried about is the circlip is rubbing on the outside slightly. So that is right on the outside edge. Nah, that circlip's causing problems. Now, if this circlip's too big, that means I have to go and take it off and grind it down a bit. Not impossible, but it's something I can do if I need to. Of course, when I grind it, I'll probably go flinging off into oblivion and disappear. It's definitely hitting. It's binding up. Just there. It's binding up in the middle. Circlip has been ground. So we can put this back on. Now the problem is I've ground out maybe a little bit too far on one side. We'll see if we go. Because I need to kind of push it outwards, but we'll see. The worst case I can just stretch it some other way. Now, should be just enough left to open it. Or not. That's fine. There's always another way of doing this stuff. This just screwed over into it. Get it onto the shaft. Once it's on the shaft, I can slide it down. Come on. I ground a little bit too much off one side. Okay, that should be it. Okay, now it'll fit. Nearly there. This is taking me way longer than I thought it would. I thought it'd be like a 1 hour job. Pull this thing apart, clean it all up, you know, but no. It's far more complicated than that. Why could it possibly be easy? Right. Yay! No, yay! Here we go, that way. Right, let's put this thing back in. Oh, that's gone. Go on, here you go. Right, well, this should hopefully work after this. We'll find out, won't we? I'll check it before I put that little cover back on. Because that's almost guaranteed to jinx it, isn't it, by putting that cover back on. So these two feel like they've got a lot of drag on them. Well, not a lot of drag, but there's drag. You can feel it's on as a bit gummy is the word I want to use. That feels rigid. No, not gummy. It feels different. This one feels nicest out of the lot. It actually feels nice. It actually just wants to pop into the detents. I think these all need cleaning up. Taking apart and having silicone put in there as well. Yeah, I think that's what I need. Anyway, I'll worry about it another time. Let's just see if this thing actually works, eh? 0, 0, 0. Let's get the meter back up. Right, I'm hooked up. Let's try it. So, what am I saying? Henry's. That can't be right. Ah, I'm an idiot. I'm an idiot because there's one thing I've forgotten to do. I haven't put the wires back on yet. These need to be attached. Right, so I'm putting the wires back on. This solder I'm using is actually a silver based solder. So it's got some silver in there. Bit extra better quality. Just try and roll it around this way a little bit, like that. I tend to use this higher quality solder. It costs probably 25% more expensive or something like that than standard solder. Right. That should be good. Now we can test it. So we're on 0 and we're getting 1 millihenry. 2 is still doing 1 millihenry, so the switch isn't quite working right there. Must not be shut. 2 is doing 3 because that switch isn't shut. 3 is doing 3. 4 is probably going to do 5. It is. 6. Still 6 because it's there anyway. 5 should be doing 5. It's not. Yeah, so that one is not closing. That number 1 is not working. Okay, so let's just sort this out. That's why I don't want to put the cover back on. That is 0. All of them should be shut in that position, and they're not. This one here is obviously doing the 1. Alright, so that's the one I was trying to bend before. I think this one here, see that's now sort of straight. That's out, that's straight. So I think this one should actually be in further than it is. It's moving that far. So you see it's moving, but the outer contact is in the wrong place. That's one I did try and adjust before, but it's still not right. But you can see the other one's all moving nicely. I guess I didn't notice that top one wasn't working. Or maybe I nudged it, or did I? Did I nudge it or do something? Maybe. Anyway, that's not closing, so we need to sort that out. It's almost closing there. So it looks like in that position there, see it's only barely moving. That wobbling slightly is still, yeah, it's just not there, is it? So it should be shut there, and it's not. So we need to bend this in some more. So move that over and we'll bend this, and that hopefully will bring it right. So you can see that one that bows that way, which is I was trying to correct that before. So let's try and correct it some more. Bend it a lot more. It's getting close. I think it's almost there. Let's try 0. 0 is closing now. So I'm actually really surprised that the 0 is not pushing that far out. Anyway, you see that one there is also barely touching. Is it? I don't know. Looks like these cams aren't actually very well designed in the depths. So that's 0. That's just touching barely. I think I need slightly more. Is that one just deeper? That's pretty deep there. Bend it some more. As long as it opens everyone, that's also barely there. Yeah, it needs a little bit more. Yeah, okay. Not sure about this one here. See that one there? That'll be right. Anyway, let's retest it, see what happens. With all positions on 0, we're getting 2 microhenries. That's not bad. Okay, let's do 1. There we go. Wiggle it around a little bit. It's not looking too bad. This meter's a bit slow to respond. I might actually just check this on my other multimeter, my other LCR, which is faster. If I'm trying to check for glitchiness. So 2, yep, 3, yep, 4, yep, 5's looking good, 6, yep, 7, 8, also looking good, 9's looking good, 10 also looking good. I might check some other LCR meter and look for glitchiness. Right, I've got to hook up to my other LCR meter, which is much faster, so we can check for glitchiness. Looking good, 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 yep. Yep. This isn't calibrated. I haven't done a calibration on it, so it's not bang on. Let's do the next scale. 10s. Again, just checking for glitchiness there. Some I haven't actually really looked at yet. Okay. 100s. Yeah, that's looking good. And Henry's. Well, it certainly is looking very promising. Yeah. That's it. So go all the way up to the top. 10 on all of them. That's what we can get out of it. So this LCR meter says it's running a bit low in inductance. My DER also said it's a little bit low in inductance. So it probably is a bit low in inductance, which is a little bit surprising. You would have thought that wouldn't really change over the years. Well, that's all back together now. This needs a really good clean to make it look nice and bring it back up to as good as it's potentially going to look. It's all a bit grimy and stuff like that, you know, build up of years and years of dirt. So this needs a nice clean, then it'll be nice, and I can put this to one side and use this when I'm doing calibration stuff. And because it's decade, if I need to get, you know, exactly 1 Henry or 2 Henry or whatever, I can tune it. It does seem to be sitting slightly low in some ways because it's decade. I'm just like bringing it up by 1 and then I'll be on track, you know, kind of thing. So, but this is much better. It feels beautiful now. Happy with that. So don't forget to check out other videos down below to watch. There's a subscribe button over there if you want to subscribe to the channel. You can share the video too if you want to share it. And over here is a Patreon support link which you can click on to support the channel. And you can donate a couple of dollars a month. It helps me to buy bits of test equipment like this to fix and do repairs on and create content. Yes, sir.